The man everybody's talking about right now, Senator Markwayne Mullin. Sir, you had the mic drop of the day. How was that hearing from the inside?
You know, it was really interesting the way the Democrats came out swinging towards Pete and Pete's composure. You know, he really worked hard to get to this point, Carl. I was privileged enough to be able to work on some of his prep work for what we call murder board, where we just kind of take him through the paces. And his composure through even those prep meetings to where he was today was outstanding. I mean, they threw everything out at him. His body language was good. His response was good. He wasn't rattled. But I said this before going into the hearing. Listen, the guy's been shot at. He's heard the crack of the bullet over the top of his head. He's been in a gunfight. He's drug his buddies off the battlefield before. He's unfortunately had friends pass away because of injuries suffered in the battlefield. He isn't going to get rattled by a bunch of liberal Democrats trying to show themselves at a different standard, a different moral standard than they are even holding themselves to and trying to hold him to. I was thoroughly impressed, but more so, I was impressed, Carl, by Jennifer, his wife, who sat behind him. And as these attacks were going after her husband, she held complete composure. And I think she did a lot better than my wife. My wife may have stood up and took it a little personal a few times, but she didn't. And it was a really impressive performance that Pete put forth, which showed why he should be the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, well, Senator, you know, when the botched Afghanistan withdrawal was going on, you personally went over there and made sure that people that had loyalties to America that fought with us, you went over there and made sure that you got some of them out personally. And to sit there and listen to people like Mazie Hirono ask about abortions or Elizabeth Warren ask about feelings and things like that.
Right.
Have you ever talked to some of these senators and be like, you're not worried about real things?
It's a touch of reality that these individuals care more about domestic issues than they do about keeping America safe. Keep in mind, the Democrats also, for every dollar we spend in military, for our war fighters, to the equipment we put them in, to the trucks we drive, to the training we put them through, for every dollar spent, they want the same amount of money spent on domestic spending too. Now, you tell me what that has to do with keeping America safe. It doesn't. It just shows you where their priorities are. It's not about Pete Hegseth being qualified, because as I pointed out in the hearing, the only qualification to be the Secretary of Defense is that you got to be a U.S. citizen. That's it. There is no other qualifications. And about being qualified for it, they were really concerned about the qualifications to be in the Secretary's cabinet. They had been really concerned about Pete Buttigieg and maybe some other individuals that was put in Biden's administration. It's not about that. It's about grandstanding and trying to all of a sudden tell the American people that they're trying to fight for them when we know what they're trying to do is fight for socialism.
Yeah. Sir, I got about 30 seconds left. You called out a bunch of senators, said, how many times have you come back from a fundraiser drunk and voted on a bill? How many times have someone cheated on their wife? How many times has someone gone around the system that they're claiming to support right now? Sir, you know, have you gotten any response from that, from some of those other people?
You know, there was a lot of senators on both sides that actually came out and said, I appreciate you holding us accountable. Listen, I'm not trying to hold myself up to a higher moral standard. I'm not. I'm the least moral person probably in that room. It's just that if you're going to hold Pete Hegseth and say he's not qualified because of some moral issues he may have had in his past, which we've all had a past, and thank God we've had a past, because it gives us an opportunity to learn from our mistakes and move forward. But if you're going to hold him to that standard, then you need to hold your own colleagues at the standard, and they're not.
And staff.
And that's what's frustrating about it. When Senator and staff, that's right. But when Senator Kaine was going out there and really belittling Pete in front of his wife about his past, I got so frustrated about it that I was like, that isn't even where I was planning on going. It just burnt me, because we all know our colleagues have done this. Yeah. So how can you sit there and say that our body, the Senate, is any better than what Pete did in his past? The guy has admitted to it. He's moved on, and that's what makes him more than qualified, because he's capable of owning his mistakes.
Yeah. No. Well, Senator Markwayne Mullin, I think you had absolutely the mic drop of the day, so I really appreciate you joining us tonight, sir.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.